Hello YouTube, this is Anime Hound. I am back with a deck update, and before I get started, again, as I stated in my previous video, anybody who lives in the Dutchess County area of New York or the Connecticut side of the border, if you guys know of any places to duel around here in person, because I play mostly online, I can't find any places. I don't care if it's licensed with Upper Deck or not. As long as they hold a tournament, it would be nice to play in person again. Please let me know, whether it be in Fishkill or Poughkeepsie, Kent, Connecticut. I don't care as long as it's someplace close. Um, After that, now we go on to my deck. After some purchases and a couple trades that are in the works, the deck has changed quite a bit, and I'm still working on a couple things to make it to what I want it to be. So here we go. Cyber Dragon. We've been over this. Special summon him. Makes for tribute fodder, and he can become just a temporary wall. Then we got two Thestalos. People tell me to take him out, but I don't, if only for the fact that I've had a lot of success with him, slapping Light Sworns and Twilights around a little bit by, casting off their Judgment Dragon or their Dark Arm Dragon, depending on what they have. It really helps. Two Caius, the Shadow Monarch, for monster removal. He takes care of those Stardust Dragons and those Blackwing Armor Masters that get in the way. Two Zaborg, the Thunder Monarch, for the same reason as Caius, except that he can't do damage. He gets monsters out of the way that I don't want there, except for the ones that can negate it. Stardust Dragon, looking at you. Jinzo, which is going to get side decked for Ariza. Again, for the same reason as Caius, except it's getting returned back to the hand, which is either going to wind up back in the extra deck or actually back in their hand. Next we go for the regular monsters are three giant germs for field presence. Can't complain. I need the field presence. Attack one, destroy it, and brings out two more, which makes for tribute bait. Next are Gravekeepers Guards. I removed the old Vindictives, and I'm going to remove the Apprentice Magicians, because basically the same thing is being accomplished, except in this case the Guards are returning monsters back to the hand, which, in the way things are going now, seems to be a lot more, how can I put this, a lot more efficient. Let's just put it that way. So here's my big problem with this is I'm still got the two Apprentice Magicians in the deck, but because Gravekeepers Spies are apparently running really expensive right now, on eBay I've seen them for either $9 a piece, and it's a common card, or $45 for a set of three. So if anybody knows any places where I can get one cheaper, is willing to trade them to me for something, please let me know. The spies will search for the guards, and they all have a higher defense, so it acts as a stall as well. Then come three Mystic Tomatoes. Searchers works well with my Creature Swap. Creature Swap is, like I said, sometimes old school is better. Swap a tomato, destroy it, get another monster on your side, and attack again. Then we got two Krebons. I like his effect. Makes for a tuner, so I actually have something to work with here. I've thought about, maybe using one Krebon and one Plague Spreader Zombie, but what I'm thinking of doing is probably just using Blackwings, the Blackwing tuners, because they are dark types as well. Can be searched by Sangan and whatnot, so it actually, it'll work. Specifically, the one that has, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my hand. Gale the Whirlwind, Gale the Whirlwind, because he can act as a shrink and, have the attack can really come in handy, knock a Judgment Dragon down a peg to 1500. Next we got two Cyber Valleys. Stall works good for when, he's the only monster on the field. Either they're going to attack it and I'm going to end the battle phase, or they're just going to let it go. But if if they let it go, I can choose to use the second effect depending on what's going on. Then we got Sangan. Searcher, and I know because when I made my first video I said I know I didn't have a Sangan in there. I was going to get one in there, because it was missing and I didn't have any more. So he's in there. Search, bring out a monster that I need. No, it doesn't, regardless of its type, so it doesn't matter. Treeborn Frog because, well, it's Treeborn Frog. Like I said, this is a throwback Monarch deck. It's not a macro Monarch, and I use more than just Caius and Ryza. He comes back, tribute fodder, comes back, tribute fodder, comes back to defend, that kind of thing. DD Warrior Lady, my kamikaze woman. I will slam her into a monster that I don't want there, or I'll set her face down. Just basically to dare them to take her down so that I can remove the monster from the game. Then we got the Twin-Headed Behemoth. Last one for field presence. Because he is destroyed, he comes back at the end of the turn with a reduced attack. But again, he's specifically in there for tribute fodder. Then we go to the magic cards. Lightning Vortex. For those pesky swarming decks. Has saved my butt, all around against, variety of decks because, you run into the monsters that you don't want there and, just, a wall or, like I said, the Swarmers, the Light Swarms are notorious for getting multiple monsters out at once, or the Blackwings. Mystical Space Typhoon, Heavy Storm, and Giant Trunade. Those three are pretty much necessary, pop the backfield. Get rid of, whatever you might find down there as a potential threat, despite the fact that you don't know what they're running. 2 Allure of Darkness, because I need a draw power, and this deck has enough dark types to support these cards. Germs make a good throw out, so do the Krebons, depending on what I'm holding. So, it works. Mind Control, to take a tuner from the opponent's side, or a monster for my tuner. Creature Swap for the tomatoes, as I discussed before. Pot of Avarice, again for draw power and recycling monsters. Brain Control for the same reason as Mind Control, except this one comes at a cost, but it makes up for the fact that, the monster can still attack. Then we got Book of Moon. Book of Moon has saved my butt many times, flipping over cards that I don't want to attack, or relieving an effect that has been established on my, put on one of my cards, or screwing with Synchro Cat. Now we'll move on to traps. Torrential Tribute to nuke the field for those pesky swarms. Mirror Force, it's just the times that I don't want a monster there. If they attack, they take the chance, blow it up. 2 Bottomless Trap Holes because, well, there's nothing better than hitting a Stardust Dragon for, poof, out of the game. So, I don't have to worry about him anymore. And then we move on to Royal Decree, which I'm looking to sub out for possibly a 3rd Bottomless Trap Hole. I don't know if anybody's got any ideas. Please let me know. Now we move on to the extra deck, which is kind of craptastic, but, what are you going to do? I'm running 2 Stardust Dragons, 1 X-Saber Urbellum. I feel that he should see a little bit more play because I just like his effect. Hitting the hand is kind of something that I feel is a bit important, especially when facing against certain decks. Then we got the Goyo Guardian. I'm not even going to go into that. 2 Gaia Knight, 2 Colossal Fighters, and that's pretty much it for the extra deck. Now we move on to the side deck, which is kind of craptastic and in a state of static right now. But if anybody has any recommendations, please let me know. Working on 1 Mirror of Oaths for those Gladiator Beast decks. 2 Light Imprisoning Mirrors for those Light Sworns. I've learned that card really screws with them, and it's worked well for me. 1 Enemy Controller, 1 Smashing Ground, 1 Nobleman of Crossout, 1 Soul Exchange, Dekoichi for draw power, Exiled Force for monster removal, and 3 Nimble Momongas for the swap out with Giant Germs, depending on what I'm going up against. So if anybody has any ideas, please hit me up. I would love to hear them. Help me out in any way that you can. Well, that's pretty much it for me right now. Please, if you got any Gravekeepers Spies, I'm willing to talk. So this is the Anime Hound signing out. You guys take care out there on YouTube.